Hello and welcome, you're with India Today, and our top focus is on this big video that the Indian Army has released. Behind me on the screen you can see how in few seconds a concrete structure, that the timer there of 5 seconds, and this entire concrete structure, a big Pakistani post in the Nowshera sector on the other side of the LoC, has completely been destroyed, razed to the ground. A punitive strike by the Indian Army to teach Pakistani post a lesson. In 20 seconds, this entire structure where it stood is now no more. That's the might of the Indian Army. Before we move on, let's also quickly get you the briefing of the reaction, the briefing of the Army, Major General Ashok Narula, on this punitive strike conducted by India.
As part of our counter-terrorism operations, punitive fire assaults across line of control are being undertaken by the Indian Army. Pak Army has been providing support to the armed infiltrators by engaging our forward troops from their weapon emplacements and pillboxes closer to the line of control. At times, they are even not hesitated to target villages in the proximity of line of control. As part of our counter-terrorism strategy and to ensure that infiltration is curbed, an initiative remains with us. Indian Army proactively dominates line of control. While doing so, locations aiding infiltration of terrorists are being targeted and destroyed to deny advantage to terrorists, thus curbing infiltration attempts. Infiltrations are likely to increase with melting of snow and opening of passes. Operations like Nogam, where 4 terrorists were neutralized on 20th and 21st of May, are such instances. This calls for even more proactive counter-terrorism operations. We want peace and tranquility in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. For this purpose, it is essential that the infiltrations along line of control are controlled, which is essential to bring down the number of terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir, so that youth of Jammu and Kashmir are not adversely influenced by terrorists from across. A recent action by our troops in Nowshera sector has caused some damage to Pak Army posts which are supporting infiltrations. This is part of our overall strategy to counter terrorism.
All right, the Indian Army promised action. The Indian Army promised there will be retaliation, but at a place and time of their choosing, and the result is on your screen. This massive strike that has been conducted by the Indian Army, completely destroying a Pakistani post on the other side of the LoC in Nowshera sector. The video in 20 seconds, a complete concrete structure of the Pakistani army which was aiding and abetting terrorists onto our side of the LoC, pushing the terrorists, giving them logistical support, giving them cover fire, has been razed to the ground. It also, what sources are telling us, that not only this post has been destroyed, Pakistan has lost a lot of ammunition, and of course we'll yet to confirm about the kind of casualties that Pakistani side has suffered, but this is a big strike by the Indian Army. A message not only being sent across the line of control, but also here on to the Indian side, to the citizens, that the Indian Army is not only capable, but is mounting operations on the Pakistani side. Punitive operations, punitive strikes, actions that are going to teach Pakistan a lesson. Let's just quickly now take you through various reactions that are coming in on this.
I think let me compliment the Indian Army, firstly, Northern Command and the Army Headquarters, the Chief, for what they have done. These kind of operations, punitive strikes, I'm glad are being put in the public domain because it's very important for the country to know that the soldiers are retaliating. In the past, unfortunately, this kind of a thing was not done. But then today, as you know, the military has a solid political backing. And with that political backing today, as you heard, the statement was given out by the Raksha Mantri when we had the last beheading incident. In that, it was very categorically brought out that, the sacrifice by the soldiers would not go in vain. And the chief had announced it. In other words, the entire operation had a political backing. And with this kind of a thing, I think the morale of the army goes up. And I'm glad that this incident, this entire decimation of the Pakistani post is being today shown on the television to our nation, to our people, let them know what their Indian army is all about. In the past, unfortunately, let me tell you, for every soldier killed, our soldiers have been killing 5 of Pakistanis. But unfortunately, it was never covered. But I'm so happy that your TV channel is covering this and you're showing this. It's good for the morale of the nation, good for morale of the army as well.
Well, showing videos in a public media in India does not have any effect on Pakistan. Pakistan only understands the effect that it has on them. This media video is going to have no effect on them. They couldn't care less. What they get worried about when they actually get a bashing. So whether we destroy 1 bunker and show it in the video or destroy 5 bunkers and show it in the video is not so important. What is important is that Pakistan must feel the damage. Pakistan must feel that they've been hit and they've been hit hard. Therefore, these videos are not really meant for Pakistan. Pakistan needs to be taught a lesson on the face of it. So videos are all right for people to generally get the information. But the taste of the pudding and its eating. So you've got to beat the hell out of these guys to see that they get the message right. So Pakistan may not be so worried about seeing the video, but they certainly needs to be taught a good lesson with a heavy hand. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think it is the right action because it is an offensive action across the LC. And this is to preempt and prevent attacks coming into or infiltration coming into. So what reaction they can have is to build some more somewhere else, but that's much later. We have to watch what reaction they have elsewhere as a retaliatory action. But otherwise, I think this is a very positive action against infiltration and terrorists. I think whenever action like this is taken, preparation is made beforehand so that retaliatory action can be countered. But where they will take and how well prepared we are, we'll come to know in case they do retaliate. But I'm sure the action to safeguard our interests have been taken.
All right, this punitive strike that has been conducted by the Indian Army. Now let me go across to my colleague, Executive Editor Gaurav Sawant, who is joining us for more on this story.
The Indian Army has carried out punitive strikes, retaliatory strikes in the Nowshera sector on the 9th of May. The number of posts destroyed, the army hasn't given out details, but the posts that were aiding and abetting infiltration have been destroyed. The army on record has said that this was meant to send out a signal across the line of control to Pakistan. So on the 9th of May, recoilless guns were used, anti-tank guided missiles were used, 106 RCLs were used, automatic grenade launchers were used for several hours and not restricted just to 1 or 2 posts or 1 or 2 sectors is what army has told India today. In fact, Major General Ashok Narula, the Additional Director General at Army Headquarters, made a brief statement as to why these strikes were carried out and the summer posture of the Indian Army. There has been an increase in the number of infiltration attempts, both north and south of Pir Panjal, but these strikes have been carried out south of Pir Panjal in and around the Nowshera sector after the mutilation and beheading of 1 Indian soldier and mutilation of another Indian soldier. But there are operations that are being carried out simultaneously even north of Pir Panjal. We'll talk about that in greater detail on this special broadcast. But for the moment, let's just cut across and listen in to a lot of political reactions that are coming in. So let's split this into two. The Congress party has raised a valid point. They've said the army is carrying out operations both north and south of Pir Panjal. I want to quickly bring in General Ved Malik, former chief of the army staff, who joins us on the broadcast. General Malik, what do you make of this strike that's been carried out in the Naushera sector? The images that army headquarters just released a short while back about Pakistani posts being destroyed in and around the Naushera sector, sir.
I think this was a correct reaction to what they have been doing in this particular sector. Of course, we had to choose the time and place of our own choosing. For such a long time, they have been firing on our villages. They have carried out beheading operation through their BAT teams, etc. And they needed to be responded well. And they also needed to be told that in future also we will retaliate like this. Not just the Pakistan army, but the Pakistan public also must get to know. And that is why I think this publicity that has been given has become necessary. It is all in retaliation. It is all as a part of counter-terror operation. And we have the ability to strike at the other side.
General, a couple of strikes. General, a couple of posts being brought down. They've been brought down in the past. A couple of posts brought down even now. Does that deter Pakistan? Because this happened on the 9th of May. Again on the 21st and 22nd, we saw how Pakistani troops helped terrorists infiltrate in the Nogam sector, and we made, 3 of our soldiers made the supreme sacrifice of their lives, killing 4 terrorists.
We have to carry out these actions again and again. Earlier, Pakistan public did not see it. Now, Pakistan public should also see this. The fact is that our boys on the line of control are expected to dominate the line of control and to check infiltration. Now, occasionally, yes, it does take place, but then there is a retaliation, and that everyone must see. Particularly, I think it is important for our people who are staying along the line of control for their morale. If you have noticed, everyone wants some retaliation to be done on the other side. So, if it continues for some time, so be it. But let their Pakistani politician and Pakistani public also see that what their army is doing is going to cause more and more damage to them along their line of control, on their side of the line of control.
General, stay with me. I have to take a quick break at this stage, but I want to continue talking about, does India dominate the line of control, whether it's our infantry, whether it's our artillery, and whether punitive strikes like this, whether they will deter Pakistan, because this time it is not a surgical strike. This time it is just our Indian Army weapons, Indian Army's infantry and infantry support weapons that have been used to destroy Pakistani posts. But what impact will this have on Pakistan? Will it deter Pakistan from pushing in infiltrators?